Welcome to Financial Flight Academy with John Schutz and Brent Connolly from Soar Wealth Strategies. In this podcast, we inspire families and business owners to build a foundation for their financial future. We do this by listening and building trust with our clients. Join us for this journey where we explore ways to protect your nest and live out your dreams as Jon and Brent draw from years of experience and guest experts to help you take that leap of faith.
Well, welcome to Financial Flight Academy. Brent Connolly is my co-host. I'm Jon Schutz. And Brent, we are going to have to get some new flight suits for this one today.
Absolutely. Yes, we are in for a ride here.
Yes. So Financial Flight Academy, we like to tell stories of people who've created their own success and taken that leap. And this one definitely qualifies. I don't know how you're going to keep them down on the farm, Brent.
You can't keep them down on the farm. Today's guest is certainly a story of inspiration, a wonderful story from small town Nebraska, growing up and becoming one of the elite haberdashers here in the Omaha area.
You gotta love a good haberdasher.
Today's guest is no other than Ingrid Geiseman. Thank you for joining us today.
Well, thanks for having me.
We appreciate it.
Yeah, Ingrid is with Tom James, and she is the clothier to the stars of this podcast.
Yes, right.
So we do appreciate you being here today, Ingrid. Your story is, I find it fascinating because you grew up on a farm, right? Small town.
I did.
Tell us a little bit about growing up where you grew up.
Yeah, no, I grew up in Northeast Nebraska, so about an hour and a half from Omaha, and I was born and raised on a beef cattle and hog producing farm, and also my parents grew corn and beans as well.
And you had sisters, right? Is that
Yes,
correct? No brothers.
No brothers. Yep. So an older sister and a younger sister. So that meant we were, the farm hands.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't really have a choice in that situation. So
few farm kids do.
No, but very thankful for growing up on a family farm. You learn a lot, and you do get a lot of quality time together. Maybe not always doing what you want to do, but I am very appreciative to my parents. They have instilled in me a really great work ethic that has followed me. And even though I didn't enjoy pushing hog manure in fourth grade on a Saturday morning.
That was going to be one of my questions. What was your favorite job that you got to do?
Yeah, not that one. So, but I do know there was a lesson that I learned from all that.
So including the shoveling of manure, give us a typical day on the farmstead.
Yeah, I mean, obviously summers and weekends were different because I did get to go to school, during the school year and avoid some of the work. But, if it was a Saturday, we woke up early and we had chores that Dad had designated for us. And a lot of it was, tending to the livestock and maybe helping him with, if something needed worked on a tractor or piece of machinery, we would hold the tools or run and get the tools. We just kind of did whatever he needed us to do. So,
John, if we have some maintenance issues around here.
That's right. Exactly. Ingrid could fix up the tractor if we had one.
I might be busy.
It's just such a fascinating contrast of where you came from to being, clothing expert. You'd have to be because you help clothe me.
Exactly.
And I am not the easiest person
full-time job.
I fully understand that. So, but how did all that growing up that way, working hard? My wife grew up on a farm, so it is a lot of hard work. And fortunately, I never learned about that being a big city kid in North Bend, Nebraska.
Oh, goodness.
But how did that influence your views of money and work growing up in that situation?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we were taught at a very young age that work did provide money because we were given labor checks. So it's not like we worked for free. So they taught us, that you go out and you do this job and you put money into your checking account. And it was really interesting. We, even in high school, like we were taught, probably starting in high school, like we paid our own lunch accounts. And,
really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
And I guess I get it now that they were teaching us how to manage money in a roundabout way. But yeah, I mean, it was just, when you are out there and you're working so hard, your time is valuable. So,
Right.
So yeah, I mean, I guess looking back, I've never really analyzed it that way, but there was definitely a lot of, financial lessons in that. And I did a lot of walking beans, and I would recruit my friends.
That a girl. I was a bean walker too.
See, you know how to work a little bit.
Oh yeah, we could whack Brent with a corn knife here. And
I knew the corn knife was going to come back from a previous episode we had.
Hey, until you learn how to use a corn knife properly,
right?
You're not going to touch
it.
Absolutely.
Well, yeah.
Oh, fair enough.
To make sure those things are sharp too. Makes for a long day if it's not.
Surrounded by farmers.
Yeah, it's hard. So yeah, like that was cool where I got to recruit my friends to come be on the bean walking crew. And, we would actually keep track. When I say we, my older sister and I would keep track of the hours they worked too. And we kind of ran the books, even if it was just on a scratch piece of notebook paper. But and then we would turn in their hours, and dad or mom would write them checks at the end of the week too. So, yeah, there were definitely some lessons that way for sure.
Yeah. Early QuickBooks.
Yeah. Learning how to run a business
right.
In high school. So did it start in high school with the bean walking, or was it earlier than that?
Junior high.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah,
right.
I don't think I was a crew leader till high school, because my older sister was the crew leader until then.
There you go.
She left for college. I had to fill some shoes,
Good way to get training.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wonderful. Okay. So, since you just segmented greatly into that, then let's talk about college. So University of Nebraska, Husker. Okay. Yep. So what were your aspirations, coming from small town with farming background to go to Lincoln and do?
Yeah. I mean, I, honestly went to the University of Nebraska because my older sister Yvette went to the University of Nebraska, and I was an advertising major because she was an advertising major, and just always kind of looked up to her and followed in her footsteps, which led me to my next job, which was working as a summer job with the Southwestern Advantage Company. And
what is that? What does Southwestern Advantage Company do?
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of a crazy summer job where you would go to a sales training in Nashville, Tennessee. You would take a week, and it was like a pep rally and a finals week all together. And you would learn to sell their product, which was a book, like a volume of books that would help parents when their kids had questions on homework, and also some CDs for the computer back in, the late 1990s.
A CD. What is this?
Yeah.
I'm too young to
explain that to
CD.
Explain that to John, Ingrid, what CD is.
So it was books and CDs, but then we would actually relocate, and we would relocate from the Midwest to the East Coast. So for 5 summers, I was in New Hampshire, Massachusetts, New York, and learned how to run a business, knocking on doors, 80 hours a week, straight commission. And
wow,
our goal was to knock on 30 doors a day. And if we knocked on 30 doors a day, we would get 2 yeses.
Yeah.
And make an average of about $7,000 in the summer.
Okay.
So, and I didn't have any sales experience. And honestly, I was really scared to do this, but because my older sister did it, I was like, okay, I'm going to do this. But
as a dad of a daughter
mm-hmm.
and someone who actually knocked on doors himself, but was there some concern on the part of the family that you're going to do what?
Well, Yvette did it first.
Right.
So I think they were a little,
blaze the trail.
Yeah, I think they were maybe a little concerned when she came home with it.
Oldest one's a test child.
But, yeah. So but also I think our parents knew, they raised us with pretty good heads on our shoulders. So yeah, I mean, I think there's safety is something all parents are always scared about doing, but there was a track record with this company that people had done it summer after summer after summer. And so, yeah, I didn't know how to sell, but I did know how to work. So what I made a decision to do was I was going to knock on more doors than anyone else knocked on, and I was going to have a really good attitude. And so I ended up probably averaging 40 or 45 door knocks a day.
Overachiever.
Very good.
And I ended up making $20,000 my first summer.
Really?
In 12 weeks, selling books door to door.
That is amazing.
It is amazing.
Yeah.
It was hard work though.
I would think. Now,
Mhm.
did you have to lug a bunch of books with you,
No.
or was it okay? Good. I
Yeah, no. You took orders all summer long, and then there was a
was
delivery.
going to say you may have gotten very strong that summer as
Right.
well. if you
Yeah,
were-
yeah, yeah. Actually, no. I mean, it's like living on peanut butter and jellies and all of that because you wanted to have low expenses.
Where did you live? Where would you
We
live?
lived with host families
Really?
that we would like kind of arrange, hey, we'll pay you $20 a week to stay here because we had 2 other roommates. We were only there because I would knock on doors from 7:59 till sometimes 10 p.m. So it was really just a place to keep our stuff and sleep and do our books at the end of the day.
But there was no background checks on these
No.
places or
No.
so great. Story gets better.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm feeling real comfortable with that if I'm your father. Okay, good. Yeah. So then you're selling the books door to door. You find that very successful. So did that change your thought process that, hey, maybe sales is the direction I want to?
Oh yeah. I
take
mean,
this
after
career?
my first summer, I knew right away, like I wanted to be in sales because I just loved the yeses. I loved the nos. I loved the whole prospecting, the whole cycle of selling. I just really kind of fell in love with sales. So that was a very defining moment for me. So when I went back to school, I knew, okay, let's focus on the advertising sales realm with my advertising major. And it gave me some direction.
Yeah, but it's just a great lesson for, I think, parents now that, you learn so much about budgeting.
Mhm.
And those are things that with what we do here at Soar Wealth Strategies, that's one of the first things we want people to get nailed down. What is that budget actually? Because Brent, you and I both know that a lot of times when we're working through a retirement plan or just planning in general for whatever goal it is, a lot of times people really don't have a good grasp on what that spending amount really is.
They really don't. And it's so easy today to lose track of your monthly expenses as everything's set up on auto pay. And sometimes there's, these prescriptions that you subscribe to that you forget about, guilty, right? And you have to kind of take a look at that budget, what's coming in, what's going out. So you were literally trying to save as much money as you can, inexpensive housing, working all day long, peanut butter and jelly.
Yep. Working for a big check so that we could go back and have just a really great year of college,
Right.
where we could put money towards school and travel. And, we had pretty good lifestyles, my
Right.
friends and I that sold books and did well in college.
So tell me about a time where there might have been a unique story, maybe that you remember as you were going door to door, or that happened to you or possibly, one of your other colleagues.
Well, I mean, there's lots of great stories, and that was 20 plus years ago, so my memory's not what it used to be, but you met great families and you met people that just kind of opened their door to you and shared their story and all sorts of things. I don't think I ever met anyone famous, but my roommate, probably the thing that sticks into my head the most is the story about one of my roommates my last summer. And some people drove doing this job and some people didn't have a car in college, so they would bike. And my good friend Holly was a biker. And at the end of the day, I went to pick her up. So I would drop her off in the morning after breakfast and at a designated spot, and she would kind of work in that territory for the day. And I went to pick her up and she was like, yeah, I had a really bad day. And I'm like, okay, well, what happened? And she goes, well, I got sprayed by a skunk. And I'm like, oh no.
Not my car.
Yeah. Well, she was all cleaned up by then. So, but yeah, she had to do the whole tomato bath thing. And she was such a good sport about it. And, that was just what we like to teach on the book field, was that life is not a cakewalk. And there's so many challenges that life brings up. And, that was a challenge that she had to figure out. And, she maybe didn't get paid for that challenge, but she got paid personally to figure out how to, go around and through and all different things to get to what she needs to do in her days.
Okay. So how did you end up getting back to Nebraska after school and working at Southwest and
after my years in the book field?
Correct.
Yeah. So, after I was done with my 5th summer, at that point in that summer job is when I met my husband, and he was kind of based in San Diego. I was based in Lawrence, Kansas. And, we kind of made that decision. If we were going to see if this is going to work, we need to move in the same city. And he was like, well, I'm going to move to Chicago. And I was 23 years old. And I'm like, I can move to Chicago. Like I can drive there from Nebraska, and I can be big city girl. So that's how I landed in the suburbs of Chicago in December of 2003.
Okay.
And then it was a few years later, I ended up back here in Omaha. So,
which has led to this incredible career with Tom James. And when we resume, we're going to talk about how Ingrid Geiseman got to be a $1 million a year producer with Tom James. Excuse me. Yeah, you. Thanks so much for listening to Financial Flight Academy. We hope you're enjoying it so far. If you have any questions or would like to talk more about this topic, you can find us at soarwealthstrategies.com. And all of our social media platforms are listed in the show notes. We're back with Ingrid Geiseman, haberdasher. Can you spell haberdasher, by the way? I mean,
F or HAB.
It does not start with an F, but welcome to the University of Nebraska. Anyway, so no, but Tom James, Tom James is I love what you do because Ingrid, as you know, hate shopping for clothes. Mm-hmm. Hate it. And my wife consequently does not like going with me. And I have no taste. And this is where you come in. Because
but I love shopping for clothes.
Two totally different type of clients.
But I also love your style and the way that you bring out, the best in people and their creative side. Mm-hmm. Which, by the way, I love your jacket today.
Thank you.
Yes,
it's pink and
fantastic.
blue. I love it
as always. Yeah. But so Tom James, tell a little bit about Tom James. Its company's been around for a long time, and the quality is what really sticks out.
Yeah, we were founded in 1966 and founded by the same guy that owned the book company I worked for in college.
Really?
So, everything's kind of tied together in my life. So, but yeah, we are a company that we go out and we serve our clients in the comfort of their office, in their home, and just make shopping really simple. So literally, I'm basically a clothing store on wheels. I help my clients with everything from their business suits and jackets and slacks all the way down to jeans and pullovers like you guys have on today, even to shoes. And
I am wearing a totally
Tom
Ingrid inspired outfit.
Yes,
today.
We'll do a photo shoot after.
That's right.
And we help with women too. So it's men and women. In 2020, we did a huge revamp in our business, and our women's business is just growing like crazy. So super fun.
Yeah. And it's, I just like the fact that you listen to me and say, Brent will take a few more chances with his clothing than I will. Well, I'm boring. Let's just face it. I was born 40. So at this stage of the game,
But that's what we love about your approach, is that you're not going to press somebody for something that they don't feel comfortable wearing.
Correct. Yeah. I was just with a CEO in Lincoln, and I was really like, I really like this jacket for you. It was, plaid with a little pink in it and blue. And he's just like, Ingrid, I just like solid. And I'm like, okay, well, you win. I'm going to at least push a little bit for you to get out of your comfort zone. But at the end of the day, I want people to like what's in their closet. And if it's blue solid all day long, then that's fine. So
tell me a little bit about kind of how your career started at Tom James. I think you mentioned once long time ago, you were a bit of a slow starter.
I was. Yeah. So, as somebody who had probably pretty good track record of success throughout different things she tried in high school and college. And I'd say Tom James was the first time that I was like, whoa, this has taken me a hot minute to kind of get acclimated here. So but yeah, it was a different animal for me. I was used to talking to moms that were at home with their kids during the day, in the early 2000s, to calling on, CEOs and business owners. And, it was just took me a little bit to kind of get comfortable with that and understand my audience probably a little bit better. But yeah, I had a very average start. I was considered like a top first year back in 2003, but what they're selling today compared to what I sold was it's way different. So, But it took me about 4 years to kind of get to the level of almost hitting what we call our President's Club level, which is selling about, $400,000 of clothing in 12 months. And then at that point, my husband at the time and I decided to move from Illinois to Nebraska. So I started over and I had a 6-month-old. So I started over working 3 days a week. And, you just kind of were able to do what you could do in the day. Mm-hmm. So it took me another 4 years to get to the point of hitting President's Club. And then I just kind of maintained because I had Ephraim come along, and being a mom was very important to me. I wanted to have that mom work balance, but I wanted to be home with my kids more than I was at work.
Well,
so
that says a lot about Tom James, that they were willing to work with you and your schedule, and they understand that family, comes first.
Yeah, we were very progressive as a company that, when I was hired in the business, the lady that hired me was working 3 days a week in 2003. And that wasn't something that you saw a lot. So and that really bought me into working for Tom James and staying with Tom James for 20 years. So It's kind of crazy.
Yeah. So tell us about your business now. Put this in terms for us that we can understand. $1 million in clothing in a year.
Yeah.
Sounds like a lot to me.
Yeah. I would say that's a little bit. So yeah, I mean, as life does happen, a few years ago, I was at a crossroads in my life and ended up going through a divorce. And when you have those hard things that happen in your life, your priorities change a little bit. And I lost a really good second income. I like to say, with my divorce. So I had to really kind of pull up my big girl pants and, see what I could do at my current career, because honestly, I didn't really want to lose that lifestyle that I had grown accustomed to. So, that was 2019, and we all know what happened in 2020.
Right.
Where most of the company was down. I actually ended up growing my business like 30 or 40% in 2020.
Wow.
And some of that was just like, when you go through hard things, it's like, well, just bring it, whatever, bring it on. People aren't wearing clothes anymore. I'll still figure out a way. Right. So, but yeah.
Pull out the corn knife and let's get some shirts sold.
Well, I'm telling you.
Exactly. Yeah. But I know that all does tie back to my childhood of just knowing and believing I can accomplish what I need to accomplish. So anyway, and then, just steady growth in 2021 and 2022. And last year, in December, finished my best year ever, 20 years with Tom James at selling $1 million of clothing.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. Wow. Super fun in 12 months.
Yes. Yeah. When now you got to start over.
Now I'm starting over.
Right.
New year, new quota.
I'm guessing she's got her swatches over there for me, but
she did bring in a large bag there.
I tell you, the problem for you, Ingrid, is the quality of the clothing is so good. A guy like me can just wear the same stuff for years and years. I don't care about it going out of style, but I probably should, right?
You should.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. I knew she would say that somehow or another, but tell us a little bit about some of the services that you offer as a Tom James representative.
Yeah. So, I was with somebody this morning in Lincoln, and I actually helped him clean through his closet. So, and that's something that I offer to my clients. I don't charge them anything for that, but there was literally some things in his closet that he wore in college, and he's older than me. So I just said in a very nice way, this looks tired and a little, tinted in color. So I think this one needs to go.
This is the part where I incriminate myself now. I'm having some clothes from college. So we need to schedule an appointment.
We do. But I think you're younger than me. So you got a little
T-shirts don't count.
So yeah, I'll help people go through their closet. And, sometimes you just need that help where somebody's just really honest with you. Like, I need somebody to do that to me too. Like, hey, I just don't love that. I don't think that's the best color for you. It's just out of style, So a lot of men don't realize that how much jackets have changed. Lapel width used to be a lot thicker 20 years ago, and it was 3 buttons and it was pleated pants, and that stuff is just not current anymore. And it doesn't mean you have to be like high fashion, but you want your clothing to be current. So, that's something I think my clients find very valuable. We do help with alterations. So most of the clothing that clients get from us. They're included in the first purchase, but after a while, I have found that clients' shapes change, sometimes for the better, sometimes for the worse. So
yeah, I've noticed that too about myself. Yes, unfortunately.
So, I work with very busy people. They don't have the time to run to a tailor shop, but they can call me and say, hey, my zipper needs fixed, or my button fell off, or whatever. And then, yeah, just really planning with them and understanding what they have coming up in their year ahead. If they have some speaking engagements, if they have an awards trip, or, a wedding, a gala, just whatever. And I can help give them ideas and try to stay ahead of their wardrobe, because nothing's worse than having an event on Saturday and going to the mall on Friday.
Where did this passion for, so if we backtrack here, where did this passion for fashion come in when you grow up in Creston on a farm, scooping poop, and were there formal overalls in Creston? I don't know.
No, there were not. I'm not quite sure. I just know that I always did enjoy looking nice. I think some of that is when you do wear overalls and you've got, animal poop on you do want to look decent when you go into public. Right. So I always enjoyed, I remember going to Norfolk on the weekends with my mom, and I would always enjoy going and looking at, back in that day, it was the Buckle, and, it was, Herberger's, which is Yonkers. Right. And, I just liked looking at the clothing, and, because I was making my own money, I was able to have some things that were a little bit more name brand too, because my parents gave me the ability to spend my own money on that. So anyway, somehow I did end up being voted the best dressed in my high school class.
There it is.
And how large was that class?
1998. I had 22
very nice.
There it is.
Friends in my class. So it was, probably really hard to.
You had 22 friends in your class.
Yes.
There were 60 in the class, but she had to. No, I'm just kidding.
So I have a question. What advice would you give regarding, single parents out there, how to balance, work, life, family? Give us some advice on that.
Yeah. I mean, anyone who is raising children, on their own, that's a different animal. And I am blessed to have a really great co-parent. So it's not all on my shoulders, but still, it's different than it used to be. And I find it just, you kind of have to prioritize what's important to you and what my kids need. I plug all that stuff into my calendar before I start the week, even before I start the month, because I mean, they're 16 and 13. They're growing up fast. I don't want to miss their things.
Right.
Sure.
And then I schedule my work for the most part around them. That doesn't always happen 100% of the time, but it, it's just one of those things. And then it's just being, organized with, other things that they need. And, I think for the stage of the game I'm in with my kids, it's more the emotional needs they need, right? Mm-hmm. They can get ready in the morning by themselves. And, my daughter drives, but emotionally they need mom and dad. Sure. So,
and your business has grown. You have a team around you now.
I do.
Too. Yeah,
yes. I have a gal, and I have a couple assistants that help me business wise. But yeah, I think I've learned I have to ask for help.
That's hard, isn't it?
It is hard, but there are the great resources. So for me, it's adding a second assistant. She's been awesome, where she helps me drop off clothing. She helps me book appointments. But there's even, I lean on my assistants for some personal things too. So if I need something picked up, and there's so many great resources out there for single parents and, married couples too. But one that comes to mind is that Zeal. It's a personal assistance type company based here in Omaha, and they'll come in and help you with different things. So I just think gone are the days that we put the weight of the world on our shoulders and say, I can do it all. And now
Right.
It's how can I have somebody help me lighten the load so I can focus on my priorities?
Sure.
I'm also really good at saying no. I think that years ago I wasn't as good at saying no, but if it's not serving what is most important in my life right now, I just have to say no.
Right.
So we appreciate you saying yes to this podcast.
Yes.
Unbelievable.
And sadly, we are running out of time. So Ingrid, I can't tell you how grateful I am for what you do for me with the clothing because I actually end up looking halfway decent, which is no small chore there. But no, you do a fantastic job. So how would people get a hold of you if they would like your services?
Yeah, I am accepting new clients. So you can call or text me. My number is 402-238-4205. Feel free to follow me at Ingrid in Fashion. You can find me on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook. I'm pretty easy to find.
Yeah. And we'll have some links in podcast notes here too. So I just can't tell you, your story is very inspiring. You mentioned your divorce. It can be one of the most devastating things financially, let alone all the personal things that people go through. And so those are all things that we talk to folks about, help them get through here at Soar Wealth Strategies. And if you need things like budgeting, just contact us. We can send you a budget worksheet. Those are all things. So you just go to our website, soarwealthstrategies.com, send a note there. Penny and Karen will take care of you if there's something you would like to get from us.
Again, thank you very much for joining us, Ingrid. We love your story, and we love the fact that you make us look good.
Thanks for having me. It was fun.
Thank you. Thank you again for joining us, and we'll see you next time on Financial Flight Academy.
Thank you for listening to the Financial Flight Academy podcast. Click the follow button to be notified when new episodes become available. Visit our website at soarwealthstrategies.com or give us a call at 531-867-3400. And don't forget to click the follow button to be notified when new episodes become available. The information covered and posted represents the views and opinions of the guest and does not necessarily represent the views or opinions of Soar Wealth Strategies. The content has been made available for informational and educational purposes only. The content is not intended to be a substitute for professional investing advice. Always seek the advice of your financial advisor or other qualified financial service providers with any questions you may have regarding your investment planning. Securities and advisory services offered through Commonwealth Financial Network, member FINRA SIPC, a registered investment advisor.